Hey everybody, I'm David with Bolivar Live, and we've got a special guest today, Terri Leo Wilson, state representative, that has really helped Bolivar since she's been in office. And you're in your second term.
Yeah, I'm halfway through my second
term.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an instance. Burrell hit the Monday after July 4th in 2024. We needed to get gas down here, and I had one question I need answered, and I called Terri probably 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. She answers her phone, but in the process says, and I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Because most people during Burrell, man, they wanted to take care of their stuff and not worry, but you were worried about the people on Bolivar Peninsula and us getting gas. And, you know, Terri helped us, Mays Middleton, Brandon Creighton, all of us, Brad, Keith, and myself, had different people that we called and talked to help us get through that. Energy did a phenomenal job.
They did.
But let's talk about where you've been and where you're going, because you've done some great work, got some bills pushed through, moved, but you've got a list you're going to work on.
Yes.
So let's talk about where you've been and what
Okay.
you've done.
Well, I do love the people of Bolivar. I do love the people of this district. Dave and I had moved here with the intention of retiring and traveling the world.
That didn't happen.
No, but we've always been very politically active. And so we've done a lot, mostly in a volunteer capacity. We show up at school board meetings and city councils, and we argue for the people and argue against property tax rate increases and all of those things that you just do when you want to be a good citizen and have a good community.
Well, you had a teaching career.
Yes.
30 years?
38.
38 years.
Yes. And so that was our vision. We were like, okay, let's just don't tell anyone who we are. Let's just, do this. And so we did sell everything off and bought a beach house. So we live just like the people on Bolivar. We have to pay TWIA. We have to do all of the things that you guys have to do. So a lot of times they look at you as a state rep and think, these things don't happen to you. They're happening to us when they're happening to you.
And just like Burrell, it happened to you. In fact, worse down there where you are than what it was up here.
Yes, because we had a hurricane a tornado that touched down in Jamaica Beach, and we live right next to Jamaica Beach. But I'm so glad that we didn't do our original plan. We were not happy with the people in the race, and we knew how to win a race, and we had helped so many different candidates over the years. We said, okay, so let's pray about this. It's not what we had planned. It's not what we had envisioned. And both of us woke up in the morning and looked at each other and said, let's go. We cannot let, especially two of them were younger, we were like, we can't let them get to the office because they'll be there forever and we won't be able to get rid of them.
Right.
And we care about where we live. We care about the policies. We care about good government. And so, but in the process, we also figured out that in our retirement, we will now have built up rich friendships with you and the people of Bolivar, the people of Chambers and Galveston, that we never would have had we not done that. And isn't that the stuff of life anyway?
You know, one of the things you did was the shrimp bill.
Yes.
I call it the shrimp bill. Man, that's a big impact on Bolivar, because there's seafood families. In fact, my wife works for Milt Seafood, and so seafood families here, Galveston, but just everything. And it's funny, whenever I was reading through that when it all first started, I was like, man, I can remember going to a restaurant in Houston somewhere, and my wife always asked, is this fresh shrimp?
Yeah.
Yes. And we took a bite, and I said, Chris, this ain't fresh. This may be fresh out of wherever, but this thing, and that's a big thing.
It is a big thing, especially for Galveston and Bolivar Peninsula, because we are tourism destinations. And people from all over come here to have Gulf Coast seafood and Gulf Coast shrimp. And it is inherently unfair also to the restaurateurs like Stingery that does it correctly and is, there's others as well over here. But I'm just using that as an example because they are paying more and because it costs more to harvest shrimp than growing them in a pond with chemicals in India. And so it was a multifaceted problem, but I just enjoyed watching all the shrimp boats, come in front of my house back and forth, and I think they're beautiful. And I started noticing they were disappearing. So I went down to the docks in Galveston and started asking questions and realizing that they were losing boats that were in their, fourth, third generation boats. And that was their way of life. And it impacted me because I grew up in a small town, in a farming community. And when I went off to college and came home, that was the time of Farm Aid. You would see your friends that was their way of life.
Everything.
They sold their farms. Everything went for auction. It was cheap because there was multiple on the weekend. And it was devastating to watch people who, it wasn't just their possessions and their farm and their house. That was their way of life.
Well, and your dignity too.
Yes,
no one wants to say,
No.
I'm going to have to sell everything because I can't make it.
Exactly. And they were selling grandma's Jenny Lynn bed for $10. I mean, things that were part of their life and part of their history. So when I learned that impacted my soul. It really did. And so one of the things that surprised me is I've done a lot of really big bills on education and property tax reform, law enforcement, all of those that have been really, really impacted everybody across the state. But I found that my local bills, like the Bolivar wastewater bill, fixing the ferries, all of those different things, those are the things that I see every day
Close
that I
to
go,
home.
yeah, close to home, that I go, I did that. And I know that, nobody else may know that, but I did it. And there's a huge sense of gratification for that, making people's lives better that I know, that I live with. And I realized when I got there that my local bills meant just as much as my great big bills. And I never thought that was going to be possible. But when I passed the shrimp bill, I saw pops, I saw the families, I saw... I saw their faces and I did not want to let them down.
Yeah.
And so I'm also going into this at 66 years of age. I've already had a career. This is not it. And so it's kind of refreshing because for me, I'm there to get the policy done. I'm there for a short period of time in life. And I am going to work hard as I can till sine die to get my bills passed. And that's one of the reasons why I've been one of the most prolific bill passers for only a sophomore. I also never burn bridges there. Everyone, my House caucus members are all endorsing my candidacy, as well as President Trump, as well as Greg Abbott, Senator Cruz, I have Senator Middleton. So, I mean, everyone, because I work well with everyone. Dr. Bonin, my counterpart in Galveston County, is also endorsing me, which it's really a benefit to our area to have both of us. He's chair of appropriations, and so I'm the southern part of Galveston County, and since we have a good relationship, I also think that that's helpful. I got the traineeship for Texas A&M into the appropriations, and so we've got a lot of mental health stuff for Galveston County in appropriations because, Dr. Bonin cares about Galveston County too.
Let's talk about some of the things you're going to work for.
Okay.
I know you've got some things on your agenda over the next couple years.
Yes. I think one of the things that impacts us most here on the coast is property taxes. I mean, across the state, that's probably the number one issue that you hear voters talking about. And just so you know, I did vote for SB 2, all of the property tax relief bills. Don't believe all the negative campaigning that happens in every race. And some people don't mind lying. I don't mind you attacking me on a record that I actually had. But I did support the $20 billion of property tax relief that was contained in SB 1. But more importantly, I voted for the budget. And sometimes you take a hit because there's things in the budget that it's one big piece. You vote for it or against it. And there's things in there that I might not be, so on board with. But my stuff was in there for Bolivar Peninsula, for Galveston County, for Chambers County. Rural law enforcement got a huge chunk of the change while I was there. More money has been brought into Chambers County by myself than any other legislator at this moment in time. And the only one that comes close is Craig Island, and that was a ways back. So, I work really, really hard for those things, but property tax relief is critical to everyone in the state. I support the eliminate property tax bill. Each and every session I carry it. My plan, and the governor has announced that he is part of this plan now. So I'm really optimistic. I had 7 co-authors the first session. Then I went to 23 last session. You know, we were building it up. But what I would like to do, and the governor's on board now, is we would like to eliminate the M&O portion of your property tax, which is the largest portion.
Okay.
So, you know, our schools are already having to follow state regulations and rules from TEA and, you know, all the things that we pass into law. So the one thing that the state doesn't have control over is property taxes, the schools being the largest portion. And we don't have any control over the spending or debt of schools.
Right.
And so this way we would have some say in that as a state. As a state, we have strict spending rules. We cannot spend more than we take in, more than our revenue. If we don't have a surplus, those things aren't going in the budget. It's in our Texas Constitution. We have a no new revenue rate, basically. We cannot spend more than population increase plus inflation. And that is where our budget ends. And that rest of that money will go into a surplus fund. So we have very strict funding rules. Why don't we do that with local governments, municipalities, and counties? So we will consider that for the first time ever this next session, and I'm all on board with that. If we can truly work towards elimination, we create a more affordable housing situation for both Bolivar and Galveston in particular, because we have, you know, second homes here. We have, but people that live and work here need affordable housing. They need to be able to afford
That's our
TWIA.
biggest problem.
And Dave and I are dropping TWIA this year after Beryl and, you know, the things that we had to go through to try to get recovered. We have very high deductible to make it affordable. We're both senior citizens and retired. I'm on TRS, my husband's on Social Security. So we live the same lives. And we cannot afford both. And we had a very high deductible, and of course it came in right under the deductible. And I argued with the insurances just like you guys argue with the insurances. Yeah, so I think that we are well on our way to making more progress. But last session, the budget contained $51 billion of property tax that will be ongoing for each biennium after. It's in the budget for the next biennium and the next. And that will be for buying down that M&O portion to get to where it's zero. So that's really, I think, going to be part of next session. The other push that we have had, and we have had the Speaker of the House here 3 times this last year, to understand that this little section, the south part of the section with the Port of Houston, Texas City, the Port of Galveston, we are 27% of the state's GDP. That is huge. We have to protect the coast. We have to make it affordable so that people can live and work here in industry, in the port, in tourism, all of those things. But it's in the state's best interest. Most of the people from, you know, West Texas or in a suburban area don't really understand the separate issues of the coast. And they're like, well, you chose to live there. You deal with all the problems. No, the state will deal with the problems if this area goes down.
It's our ports, it's our chemical plants, it's our people.
Absolutely.
And
Yes, and one of the things that I intend to do next session, and I asked the senior member of the coastal community, which is Todd Hunter out of Corpus Christi. I didn't want to step on any toes. I said, but you know, we don't have a coastal caucus. The 22 of us state reps that live along the coast, that advocate for coastal issues, we need to have a caucus. And we need to get a plan, and we need to move forward together to protect the coastline, to protect our shrimpers, to protect the ports, to protect all of the things that are important, that this coast is vital to the state of Texas. Even ourselves, when we lived in Harris County, until we moved here, we didn't see it. Until we moved here, we just thought, you know, we didn't see the industry, we didn't see the port, we didn't see the commerce, the activity. and the income that this area brings to the state. We had really no idea.
I don't think people realize, they see Bolivar and they see Galveston and they think tourism and the Strand and that, but now we've got the cruise ship industry. We've got the Port of Texas
And adding
City.
a fifth one, and
Yeah.
we're adding shipping.
We've got Texas City, and the crossing of the Houston Ship Channel and the Intercoastal. Man, that's an important intersection
Yes.
there, because if something happens there, it shuts down Galveston, Texas City. People don't realize what it shuts down, and the port way up in Houston. And
Yes.
so I was talking to a buddy one time when we had I think a barge got hit there.
Yes.
And I said, man, y'all don't understand what that one intersection does and what
Billions
Bolivar
of
and Galveston.
dollars
Oh, yeah.
for the state of Texas. Yes, and I had the same argument just last month. It took me a day to resolve, but I resolved it. I got to the top of TxDOT, but they were going to, and it needed repairing, it needed maintenance, but they were, instead of having a true stakeholder meeting with the port and with UTMB and all of the things that are on Harbor Side Drive, they were just going to shut down 2 lanes to repair it. I'm like, and then what results in that long repair is you can't have any heavy load cargo. I was like, you can't tell a ship coming in here from Indonesia go back home. Like,
Yeah.
this doesn't happen. This is, we cannot do it this way. So by the end of the day, we had a different application shutting down one lane for less of time. The application is not going to last as long as the initial one that TxDOT had planned, but we had to make them understand that you might be able to do this application
That'd be like
somewhere
shutting
else.
down
You
610.
cannot, yes, you cannot shut down the port of Galveston.
Yeah.
And you can't shut it down for any length of time, and you can't shut it down for cargo. And so it took me the entire day to resolve, and we got it resolved, and we got a solution, and we got, law enforcement involved to redirect traffic from UTMB for all of the emergency room traffic, because they use that road. We got Texas A&M involved. We got, we had all truly a stakeholder meeting. And we also have the port now and the pilots notifying when a large cargo is coming in, so that,
Everyone can.
yes, so that everyone can coordinate those intersections and lift the construction, let them through, and then go back to work. So we have it all timed, we have it all coordinated. It should have been done that way in the
Right.
beginning, but it wasn't. They just assumed, well, this is no big deal. We'll just do it because
Right.
we do this all the time. I'm like, no, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
So, so that's where I think that my negotiating skills come into play, my relationships that I have built with not just agency heads, but just with all the people. I mean, I know them. I have their cell phone. They have my cell phone number. I give everybody out my cell phone number. So if anyone needs it or wants to talk to me about the campaign or issues going forward, I'll be happy to do that. I get most of my local bill ideas from you guys, because I find out what's wrong. I find out that you needed a wastewater option for Bolivar. I find out about 87 and how to initiate getting that road elevated and what has to happen first. And so I get the bill ideas from you guys complaining to me
Talking.
about something, or talking to me about something, or saying, why, this seems silly. Why is this in law? And I'm
Right.
like, yeah, you're right. Who put that in there in the first place? So I really appreciate the feedback from constituents, because you guys are boots on the ground. You live here, you see it. And so
Every day.
yeah, every day.
What's a website if people want to get more information
Okay.
on yourself and some of the things you've done, some of the things you're going to work for? What's a good way for people to get hold of that information?
Well, go to terrifortexas.com.
Okay.
And I have my
Pretty easy to remember,
Yes,
isn't
yes.
it? Terri for Texas.
Yeah, Terri for Texas. And so I also have my endorsements are up there. I have every last pro-life, pro-family, pro-liberty, pro-industry, pro-agriculture endorsement. My opponent has 0. And so he tries to make light of that endorsement. But the reason why those endorsements are very, very important, these are advocacy groups. You don't pay for those endorsements. They are monitoring and watching your voting record and your authorships of
Right.
bill that have something to do with their
Right.
their organization. So I have the 2 state law enforcement endorsing me because of my record on law enforcement. I voted for the Interoperability Council, where ICE can come in and work with the local jails and sheriff's offices to detain illegals and be reimbursed from the state
Right.
for that cost to those little, especially rural communities,
Right.
to those jails, and for the time that that person is detained till ICE can get there. It creates a coordination between
Right.
local law enforcement and ICE that wasn't there before. I voted for that bill. But I just want to say a couple
Okay.
things because of my work on law enforcement. This one is from the Combined Law Enforcement Association, and it says, "We are the largest police organization. We have a reputation of fighting hard on the side of Texas law enforcement. We believe that you have similar courage to come to Austin and make a difference for the public that we protect. The brave and courageous men and women of Texas law enforcement deserve representation, advocacy, and results that they count on, and it's with pride that we endorse your campaign." For State Representative, House District 23. This one is from DPS, the State Troopers Officers Association. Our organization proudly represents the dedicated men and women of the Texas Department of Public Safety, including troopers, rangers, agents, officers, forensic scientists. Throughout your tenure, you have demonstrated steadfast leadership and deep commitment to our law enforcement community. Our advocacy for policies that strengthen public safety and support officers in the line of duty has had a meaningful difference to our members and our citizens we serve. And so, I have had their backs. So don't believe the things that you have heard or read,
Right.
or, all of this stuff that goes on with nasty campaigns that are run with foreign outside money. And so it is what it is, but my record is what I am running on. I have a solid record, and I'm always consistently voted in the top 10 conservative Republicans of the entire House of the 150 members, consistently both sessions. No matter what you look at, if you look at Texas Values or Grassroots America or whatever that is, I'm always up there because I work hard.
Right.
I work hard to support those bills.
Well, and like I said, I don't keep up with a lot of politics, but I know what she's done for Bolivar. And there's been several times I've called her and said, "Hey, any chance of y'all coming over here? We can meet, maybe have lunch and talk about some issues that we have over here with myself and Brad and Keith." And we've always worked a schedule into where she could get over here and talk to us just like today. So, well, for more information on Terri, make sure you check out her website and read up on everything, terrifortexas.com. I just want to say thank you from Team Bolivar and for everything you've done for Bolivar Peninsula.
It's been my pleasure, and it's been my honor to serve you. I'd love to have your vote. I'd love to serve you some more. And, the rest is in God's hands, but we will work hard for Bolivar just as we have. I have a track record of doing so. And so, you stick with the horse that got you to the whatever.
Don't fix the wheel.
Yeah, okay, that's what it is. Yeah, don't fix what's not broke.
Well, we're going to head on out. Once again, I'm David with Bolivar Live. Until next time, y'all have a great day, great week. Come see us. God bless, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Video equipment is sponsored by Crystal Beach Decor and More, located at 1959 Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas, and Beachy Beatnik Boutique and Jewelry, located at 970 Surfside and Highway 87 in Crystal Beach, Texas. Thank you to these two businesses for being our 2025 video equipment sponsor for Bolivar Live.